So today was a really rough day for me. And I really want to talk more about my thought process so you guys can get an idea of how I cope on days that are bad. Because the reality is, every single person, we're all going to have those days where they're tough. And the days where they're tough is really where it counts the most. And that's where you really see what you're made out of. And the reason why I bring that up is because on days where it's tough is actually when I push myself harder. So usually I make around 500 cold calls per day. Today, I made 750. The reason why I did that is because as soon as I was really starting to get in a bad headspace, and I did not want to work anymore. And that's exactly why I took 250 more. Because the idea is whenever you feel yourself starting to break or like check out, whatever you want to call it, start to reach that point where you're like, I can't take anymore. If you quit right then and there, you let your mind win. Because if you just do the bare minimum, your mind won. Because you just did the bare minimum. But if you push yourself when you on those days when you really don't feel like doing any more, that's when you grow as a person. Because today, trust me, I usually do 500 calls. As soon as I hit that 500 mark, I was ready to call it a day. I was like, I'm done, and I did another 250, and that 250 went by extremely slow. And the reason also I did that is because there's this philosophy in sales, and that is it's called the one more prospect philosophy. It basically means anytime you're having a bad day, you take one more call or you knock on one more door, you talk to one more person, you do one more anything, and that can be the difference between you having a bad day and you making 5 to 10 grand. So imagine this: you're having a really bad day, you make 5 grand, your day's gonna go a lot better for most people anyway. So that was the idea. So even though I was in this headspace, I knew that I'm like, Aaron, if I just keep going through the motions, if I put on a smile, and I just give these people a show, if I get just one person to give me a chance, it will all be worth it. Today I never end up finding that person. Well, that's okay because that's just the nature of the game. At the end of the day, this is law of averages. The numbers are pretty much always accurate. So on the days when it gets hard, that's when you have to push yourself the most. Now, let me make this very clear, okay? On the days where when I was just trying to push myself past that 500 calls and I started to get to 750, let me make this very clear. As soon as I hit that 750, I was so thankful it was done. And honestly, as soon as I hit that 750, I should have done more. But I was starting to become really angry, and also it's starting to be, I kind of have to say that I appreciate that anger because what happens is, on the bad days, instead of quitting as soon as you hit the bare minimum or not even hitting your target, when you push past that, like I said, you create a new capacity for yourself. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than what you think you are. And then the reason why I was in a bad mood was because I was pissed off. It's like that controlled anger. And it's when you realize that you're capable of so much more, but you're not doing it. And that's what was making me upset. Because what was really bothering me is I'm like, even though I did more than I was supposed to, today I let my emotions win. Because, the rejection was not bothering me, but it was a combination of other things in my life that is what brought me down to that negative headspace. Because trust me, people telling me, screwing like swearing at me and stuff on the phone, I don't care. These people don't even matter. But that's just the truth. So, but what was really making me upset was how that I let my emotions win. Now, this is what I also want to talk about too when it comes to getting back to level. Because if I was like this earlier, I would have kept on taking calls, like how I am talking to you right now. But I was not like this on the phone. As soon as I started to get to the point on the phone, people were giving me objections and they were kind of being nasty, and I wasn't even overcoming them, even though I knew how to, because I was just checked out mentally. At that point, even though I was like very upset, I was just looking for light downs. Now, this is what I did to get back to my level. Okay, so even though I was in a very frustrated headspace, to recenter, because I don't do any drugs or anything bad like that, what I did is I went to the gym. My idea was to boost endorphins. Fun fact, after you've been working out for years, it kind of stops feeling that great. So, I was working out and it really didn't help. But what did help is I usually don't go that hard in the gym, but today I pushed myself extra hard because I was just trying to go so hard that I was able to stop thinking of the things that were happening in my atmosphere. So I worked out extra hard. I didn't really feel better but I felt like I got something done. So that made me feel like I leveled up because I see life as a game. So I felt like my strength and health and fitness stat just went up a bar. So that was like a little dopamine hit. Not big, but it was subtle enough to make me feel a little bit better. Then from there, when I was working out at the gym, I started listening to my favorite motivational video. I'll put it in the link in the description. That video has literally, I've listened to it hundreds of times probably at this point, and it's got me through so many hard times. I don't know what it is, but every single time I listen to it, it makes me feel like me again, kind of. I can't really explain it. And that was really it. So my coping mechanism is when things get tough, you have to go harder. Because what happens is, even if you're not getting quality reps, you're growing as a person. Because what happens is, next time, you're now what happens is your bar increases. Just think about it like this, okay? So the best way to explain it is it's like a cup of water, right? So you have an empty cup, right? When the cup is full, that means you cannot take any more, right? So you fill it up a little bit, and then you're good. Fill up a little bit more, and then you're good. And then eventually the cup becomes super full, and then eventually then you pour more water and it overflows, and then that's when you reach the point where you can't take anymore. But what happens is it's just kind of like a weird example. What happens is in life is imagine that same cup. Every single time you raise the bar, the glass actually increases in size. So you can take more and more, and you can put more and more water in there. I hope that analogy makes sense. But the point is, the more pain you have, the more you grow. And today, I kind of was, as much as it sucked, I kind of was grateful for the feeling because it reminded me of the anger I have inside of me. And that anger is power because what happens is a lot of people try to talk about how you gotta, it's a lot of people talk about like, oh, you gotta be grateful and stuff like that, which is great. But I think more people, if I were to ask you to list the 10 negative things in your life, it'd be a lot easier for you to do that than it would be for you to name 10 good things. So I think more people just stop trying to focus on the positive and try to focus on what they have. And for me, really what it is, where all my really motivation stems from, is a deep insecurity of never having enough because of how I grew up as a kid. And really that is what keeps on pushing me for more and more. And truth be told, I'll probably never be satisfied. And that's okay. Because I know the things I want to achieve and I'm willing to do almost anything to achieve them. So, in short, when you're feeling angry or you're feeling like quitting, that is good because that is the moment where you grow as a person. And that is where you have to push even harder on the gas and go harder. And even if you don't get anything, the fact that you even kept pushing will make your mind stronger. And then eventually you'll be invincible.